Welcome to Meet the Writers. I'm here with Leilani. I'm Nate. We're here to talk another article. It's just January. I don't know. I want to say December. It's January 17, 2014. Just to give you a little context of when we're recording this. Another article, how to keep your focus simple. And really how to not stray away from your mission and focus. Why do you think that's happening? What's happening that's causing a lot of businesses to they start at point A and they're already at point D?
Right. It seems one of the common denominators seems to be we're struggling. We're not bringing in as much. Our products aren't attracting as much economic times. And so when it gets to that survival mode, it's like, well, let's do this, and let's do this, then let's do this. Surely this will work. And they just kind of scramble, or as my mom calls it, shotgun an approach, just to see if there's a way that they can get some income coming in. But after a few steps of that, you start to get into this wasn't what we originally created our business to be at all. We're trying to sell products that don't really have anything to do with our mission or our goals.
Yeah.
So it's something that you have to be on guard for, because it's little steps by little steps.
Yeah. And what happens is if we make decisions surely just on what profit or we get so far away that we don't know what we're doing. Mm-hmm. And I call it sometimes missional creep, not an original term, or getting away from your core competency.
Right.
And that's fine sometimes. There are cases where it's like, and we call it a lot of times, it's a pivot. We need to make a move.
Right.
What we're doing, it's never going to be effective. So it was a good try.
Right. Times have changed. It's now time. Yeah,
it's a failure. But I like it. You say, but there are some times that you have to just kill your darlings. What does that mean? You wrote that.
That's a writer's term. I forget who quoted it, but it's kill your darlings, where you work so hard on one project and you think it's going, or on a sentence or a paragraph, and this is going to be the gem of your story or whatever. And sometimes it just doesn't fit. Sometimes you have to kill your darlings.
Yeah.
And sometimes you will have, as a business, this one product that you are so excited about and so passionate about, and then you realize that it is not serving your business. It's not serving your goals. It's not even something your staff wants to sell.
Yeah.
Whatever the reason is, and you have to remove it. It might have been a good try, but you have to realize what is bogging your business down and what is still bringing in the profits.
Yeah. Well, it becomes, you quote Walter Isaacson in his Steve Jobs biography, where Jobs really kept his team focused. Yeah. And I think specifically, you didn't particularly say this, but when he came back to Apple that second time, and Apple had strayed all over the place, and they had the Newton, and they had several products, and they had several different, and he said, no, we're going to have an iMac, we're going to have a PowerBook at the time, they call it now, and we're going to limit the amount of offerings we're going to have, and we're going to do that portion really well.
Yes.
And we're going to stay focused and streamlined, and that's sometimes you just kind of take that evaluation and take a step back. Now, the next thing you talk about is resist the sparkle.
Yes.
Talk about that. What does that do?
Again, it's this will bring us in the money, or this worked really well for that business.
Yeah.
So obviously it'll work for us, and it's not always the case. And so it's this is the new gadget, or this is the new trend, or this is the new whatever. And sometimes it's very appealing to go towards that sparkle, to go towards that product and offer it, because of course this is going to bring you in that profit that you're needing. But if it doesn't fit in with your plan or your goal, it's just going to shoot yourself in the foot eventually.
Everybody wants to be the next Amazon or the next Zappos or the next. I thought of this, and the story is not written on this, but when Groupon came onto the scene several years ago, and then suddenly everyone was doing this Groupon type idea, and a lot of them failed and went down the wayside, or were able to do well enough to maybe get bought in and brought into Facebook, or some of the smaller ones were bought that way, but they were just. People like, oh, they're successful, we're going to do that. And it was even people moving out of their, they were suddenly totally pivoting, and just for because they think they make money over there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, it's going to be important, no matter what your next step is, what your next product, whatever your next service is. Yes, there's going to be times where you're going to need to pivot, but you're going to have to look at, why are you pivoting? Is it because the times have changed? Is it because you're better serving your customers? Or is it just because you're hoping this is going to bring in more profit? The profit is really nice. Of course, it helps you sleep better at night, but you're going to have to really evaluate why you're moving this way. If it's just to compare to be at the same level as another company, maybe. It's not going to work.
How do you put in guardrails? Some ideas of maybe you can put in guardrails to make sure that you're evaluative. Because I think a lot of times as entrepreneurs, we're dreamers, and we are starting new things all the time, and it's just our nature, and we need somebody else to speak into our life and say, hey, stop. What are some guardrails we can do to
you just said it. talk to other people.
Yeah.
Talk to people that have been there and done that, and they're a bit more advanced in what it meant to take a risk and what worked and what didn't work, and if they can see any warning signs for this. And they will ask you the hard questions that you may not want to ask yourself.
Yeah.
Is this really for profit, or is this for your customers? And so get a lot of input, talk to your customers, talk to your employees, and just put in all of those, get that feedback before you actually jump in.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're just going to have to jump in, and it's going to be great, but really be careful.
Yeah. Other things, other articles that people might want to be reading about on Salcha, things that are being created. Yeah.
Lots, yes. We have quite a few, and it's really exciting with the new blog with Salcha and everything. We're able to do a bit more of the newsy articles,
Yeah.
so check those out.
Yeah, lots of great content. Make sure you're interacting with us. Right now, if you're watching this and it's close to January 17th, not everything's launched, but the blog's there. You could be commenting there. You can be following us on Twitter. You could be following us on Facebook. There's Google Plus conversations that are going to be starting here in the coming weeks. And make sure you're signed up to our newsletter so you know when Salcha.com is officially launching, which is coming up. And get catch up. We just recorded a couple promo videos. Leilani was part of one, and those will be coming out here in the next 10 days. So thanks for watching. This has been Meet the Writers, and we'll see you next time.